So, I don't have answers. I will suggest, though, one form of addressing this that I have found compelling and has brought to my awareness the deeply embedded colorblindness of my own consciousness and my own life as a privileged white Presbyterian who grew up in the South. And this is the Pauli Murray Project. How many people have heard of it? Few people? Oh, great. Okay, well, at the risk of repetition, for those of you who haven't, it began as a community-based initiative aimed at promoting open dialogue among Durham residents about the pressing issues of our time and their historical roots. Pauli Murray was a civil rights activist, African-American woman, lesbian, who grew up in Durham. She was a lawyer and the first African-American woman Episcopal priest. She died in the mid-'80s. Her story has become a project, both at Duke and in the church that I go to, a project about telling stories about what really happened in Durham. You know, what was white privilege like? What does it continue to be like? And the church, the multiracial church I go to, has as its mission to be multicultural, but not simply to be multicultural so we can just claim diversity, but rather to create alternative worldviews. And our Pauli Murray group has begun to do that. We have been going for 5 years, had monthly meetings where we tell our stories. When do we first become aware of race? You know, what was that like? Well, it was very different for those few of us who were white and those who were persons of color. We've had public dialogues where we've invited people to the downtown library to talk about the different elements of markers, intersecting markers in Pauli's life, because again, she was lesbian. That wasn't easy, being black and lesbian. And to talk about the ways in which these oppressive realities and lack of consciousness continue in our community. Now, our hoped-for goals are to contribute to a church ministry on race and ethnic relations, to educate ourselves about our others' families and educational experiences and cultural differences and how these have impacted and continue to impact our lives as Christians, to gain a better understanding of each other and the effect of oppressive and privileging systems, to learn how to appreciate our differences and to enhance our respect for each other. Now, I don't want to romanticize this, but since we've been doing this and have ongoing relationships, I mean, this has been going for 5 years, as I said, this hasn't been this sort of just cheap thing where we go, oh, I'm so sorry I'm white and I've been, privileged and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we're still going at it. So I'd like to suggest that this is just an example of how stories, especially the story of an African-American woman, can become models just the way many white male theologians, and I won't name any, have become central figures in church memory and church stories. Finally, there have been some opportunities, too, for community dialogues, as I said, at the downtown library, and we're about to have a few more coming up this coming year, and I want to give Barbara Lau some credit. She's the leader of this group, which now has been going for 6 years. So in terms of all the kinds of issues that Dr. Hooker brought up, there are many things I would love to ask you, but I hope some of these resonate with the very clear ways in which you framed many of these ongoing structural and individual and intersubjective communal challenges, to put it mildly. So thank you very much.